Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Thursday, the 6th of July. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast presented as always by Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. If you're involved in any kind of accident, if you're dealing with an injury, you got to focus on getting right. Go to Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, where they're going to treat you like family and they're going to get you the money you deserve. 800-747-FREE, Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-3733. We got a fun show planned for everybody today. We're coming off of a ridiculous finish to the Marlins last night. After getting swept by the Braves this past weekend, they now have a chance tonight for a 4-game sweep against the Cardinals. Right now, they've made up those 3 games that they lost over the weekend. They're back to a season best. Actually, back to, at this point of the season, a franchise best. 14 games over 500. The only time at this point of the season they've been 14 games over 500 was back in 1997. So the Marlins, they're rolling again. They got a chance with Yuri Perez on the hill to get a 4-game sweep over the... Look, they're lousy, the Cardinals, but you do what you got to do. Beat up on the bad teams. Come on. Bally Sports, Craig Minervini, he's going to join us on the show today. Obviously, he'll be on the broadcast tonight. So we'll get Minervini on. We'll do some Marlins because they're worth paying attention to. So before we get to last night's game, we got a little bit of news as far as Damian Lillard goes and all that good stuff right there. We'll get to that in a moment here. And some general NBA stuff. You had a trade yesterday, 3-team trade. Kind of significant. So I've noticed now on social media, I've noticed now on Twitter, and everyone's been freaking out, you know, Elon Musk, he sucks. Everybody knows that. And Twitter, I'm not going to say Twitter kind of blows, but it's not what it was. It's not as good as it was. You got the ads. You got, there's a limit on how much you could see. You got to pay for the blue check mark. And Elon Musk, he sucks. But it seems now there is somewhat of a migration right to a new kind of Twitter. Threads. I gotta be honest. I'm not moving over to Threads, okay? It's too much work. And in all honesty, and there's definitely a political aspect to it, right? Where Elon Musk sucks and everything's political. I don't think it's that big a deal. Twitter's not as good as it was since Elon Musk took over. That's for sure. But I don't have it in me to just pack up and leave. I'm going to start over. I'm going to start fresh. I'm going to start brand new on something called Threads. I think it's powered by Meta, by Instagram, and Zuckerberg, you know. And they're big rivals, Zuckerberg and Musk. And they're going to fight in the octagon, but they're not. And I just don't have it in me to switch over to Threads. So it's too much work. So anyone who's switching over to Threads, I hope you keep doing your thing on Twitter, because I'm not going over to Threads. And I've taken too long establishing myself on Twitter to wind up going somewhere else and starting over. I can't do it. So I understand the frustration with Twitter, because it's not what it was before. And again, I'm not going to say it kind of sucks. It doesn't suck. It's still Twitter, you know? But I think sometimes we make a mountain out of a molehill. I think this is closer to a molehill. It's just Twitter. It's stupid Twitter. We're on there to get our information, especially in the sports world, and especially someone like myself, sports media, but especially in the sports world. Twitter's so good for all of that. It's still really good for all of that. I know the browsing experience isn't what it was. I don't know, am I missing something there? Hit me up at Twitter. Let me know. At ZASLOW Show. That's irony, right? At ZASLOW J on Instagram, where obviously I'm an influencer. But I got time for all you guys. I love you guys a long time. So I keep seeing this. Come join me on Threads and that whole deal. I'm not doing it. You don't have to join me on Threads. Stick with me on Twitter. I'm not going anywhere. I don't have the time nor the patience to start brand new. So anyway, it is hot as hell outside. Oh my God. I got to stay indoors. It's so hot outside, man. You're outside for a couple minutes, you're sweating your balls up off, my thighs are sticking together. Oh, it's so gross, man. It's so gross outside. I think I checked the weather, because when we had a barbecue at the ZASLOW Mansion on Independence Day, and I checked what the weather was going to be. It was 88, but feels like 104. What the fuck? 88, but feels like 104. All right. Look, be careful out there. It is hot as hell. So, anyway, before we get to Heat stuff, before we get to the NBA stuff, and we're going to talk to Minervini, I want to talk Marlins with him. I'm embarrassed to say I missed the finish of the Marlins game last night. Yup. I hate that. And it's not where, like, I went to the game and I leave early. Because, look, you got to leave Marlins games early. We went on Tuesday. We left early. Not because they won 15-2. We left when it was 7-0. We left after the 7th inning. Because the parking situation, if you're on top of the garage, you're waiting in, like, I don't care about a long drive home. What I do care about is being stuck in the garage. Like, that's so... I'd rather than be stuck in the garage for an hour, can't move, and then it takes an hour to get home, I'd rather it just take 2 hours. I'd rather it be a 2-hour drive than get stuck in the garage for an hour. Getting stuck in the garage is so bad. So you got to leave early. So I leave early. But that's not what happened last night. I was here at home. And my wife and I, we started a new show yesterday with Rose Byrne, who I love, and Seth Rogen, called Platonic. I thought this was a movie. It's a show. It's on, excuse me, Apple Plus. I thought it was a movie, but it's not. It's a show. It's 10 episodes. So anyway, we watched a bunch of episodes last night. And I stopped watching the Marlins game last night after the 7th inning. It was 8-7, and the Marlins got out of a jam. It's 8-7, and then I started watching the show with my wife, and I never went back. And then my buddy texted me, you know, some of the effect of, holy shit, what a crazy ending. I was like, damn it. I forgot to, like, does that ever happen? You just forget to put the game back. That happens to me, if I can admit, that happens to me all the time with Inter Miami. I forget to put the game back on. Like, it'll be halftime, and then I forget to put it back. That happened to me the other night, too, on 4th of July. We were watching the Inter Miami game. I didn't see the finish. They got the equalizer in the 90th minute from Josep Martinez. Beautiful goal. I forgot to put the game back on after halftime. I didn't see it. That happens to me all the time with Inter Miami. They suck. But love Messi. So I am embarrassed. I forgot to put the game back on last night. And then I was annoyed because, holy crap, what a fun finish. So the Marlins go down, puck blows it in the top of the 9th inning. You get a little bit of bad luck there. The runner beats in the first base, then gives up the home run. Okay, so it's 9-8 now, St. Louis. Which sucks because you don't want to just have an opportunity to win the 4-game series today. You want to have an opportunity to sweep the 4-game series today. So yesterday's game was important. And then in the bottom of the 9th, you got runners on first and second, I think it was. And the runners were in motion. Great job. Runners on first and second with 1 out. And you got a bouncer back to the pitcher, which could be a double play. And instead, you wind up getting as bad a toss to first base you're ever going to see.
And the runner goes from second to third on a tapper back to the mound, and it's overthrown. 1 run's going to score, and here comes the game winner. How do you like that? It's a Marlins walk-off win. Soak it in and enjoy every moment.
I mean, that was Little League shit. It really was. He kind of bobbles the bouncer. He's got all the time in the world to throw to first. And then it'll be 2 out, runners on second and third. No big deal. And just airmails it. Almost into the seats. It'd have been better off if it went into the seats because then the winning run is going to have to stop at third. But instead it just goes up the first base line. No chance of catching the runner coming home. Marlins easily walk it off. And another 1-run win. So many 1-run wins for the Marlins. Back to 14 over, 51-37. And yeah, it's one of those deals where, and I know, look, they're beating up the bad teams. Royals, Athletics, now the Cardinals. That's what you got to do. You got a chance to beef up your record, you got to do it. Like, they're sweeping all these teams. Excellent job. And, oh, but you see what happens when they play a good team like the Braves. The Braves aren't the measuring stick. The Braves are way up the top of baseball, way up top the National League. The measuring stick are the other teams in the wild card chase. Teams like the Dodgers, teams like the Giants. That's the measuring stick. It's not, the Brewers, not the Braves. The Braves are so far above everybody else. But kick the shit out of the bad teams. That's how you wind up being able to play meaningful games in September. And this Marlins team, there's something happening here. Now, last night wasn't a huge crowd, but you got enough people that if you pack that lower level, that building looks crowded and it gets really loud. And we've never really been able to experience that down here with baseball because I think the Marlins have had one season, I think they finished 12 games over 500 one year in the new ballpark. And now they obviously did not make the playoffs that year. But I think there's been 1 year where they were really, well, I shouldn't say really good, but there was 1 year where they finished, I think they had 87 wins. That's their best season in the new ballpark. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on a second. We're doing it live. We're doing it live. All right. Best season that the Marlins, all right. They got into the new ballpark in 2012. No, they haven't had, that season that I'm thinking of was back in 2009 where they won 87 games. The best season they've had in the new ballpark, holy crap, really bad. 69 wins, 62, 77, 71, 79. So we're decent, but under 500 still. 77, wow. So they have not had, now, 31 and 29. I thought the year was 32 and 28. 31 and 29. They made the playoffs, COVID year 2020. But, we couldn't go to any games. The Marlins, wow. The Marlins have never had a 500 season in the new ballpark. That's incredible. So this is by far the best team that we've seen since they moved down there. And baseball games are fun when your team's good. You got a crowd there. But even if you're not at the game where it's like every night, what do I do tonight? It's the middle of the summer. I'll watch the Marlins because they're playing meaningful games. So that's what we got going on right now. Yuri Perez on the hill tonight. Hey, you know what? Let's give the St. Louis Cardinals television call. Oh, they must have been so pissed. Let's give the St. Louis Cardinals television call some run here.
Now his 1-2 pitch. Runners take off. Little tapper in front of the mound. The runners will advance. Double clutch, and he threw it away. Down the line. 1 run scores. Gurriel around third. He's going to score, and the Marlins walk off. Unbelievable.
I mean, they stink. They've been having a terrible season, so it is what it is. I'm telling you, if you haven't seen the video of it, it's Little League, that throw. It's so bad. Anyway, great job last night. Really fun finish for the Marlins. And now they'll look for the 4-game sweep today with Yuri Perez on the hill. All right, really fun. So there you go. All right, guys, it's the summertime. You're saying to yourself, you know what, Zaslow? I'm thinking about, I want to treat myself to a brand new ride, but I don't know where to go. Well, luckily for you, this is actually the easy part. I send you to the only car dealership I personally endorse, the official car dealership of ZASLOW Show 2.0, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Why do I send you to North Fort Lauderdale Subaru? Because whether you're looking for an SUV for the family, you're looking for a sedan, maybe for one of your kids, maybe just for your daily commute to and from work, whatever you're looking for, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru carries the widest inventory of newest Subaru models on the market. That includes the Outback, the Crosstrek, the Forester, the Ascent. Whatever you're looking for, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru is sure to have the perfect model for you. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road. You always get more at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. Guaranteed most money for your trade and lifetime warranty included on all North Fort Lauderdale Subaru vehicles. Shop NFLSubaru.com, the only car dealership I personally endorse. NFLSubaru.com, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. So yesterday, the Heat introduced Thomas Bryant and Josh Richardson to the media. They did Zoom calls. You guys already know, I'm a sucker for nostalgia. I told you guys that. I'm really happy Josh Richardson's back. And I know there was a frustration with Richardson on the way out because, well, it's a couple reasons. Number one, he loves stepping on the baseline out of bounds. But also, remember that whole year, his last year, while the Heat were trying to make him their number one option, and he scored like 17 points a game. He was their number one option. They were making him their leading man. At the same time, the beginning of that season, you had all the Jimmy Butler rumors that were out there, where they could have traded Richardson. At the time, the Wolves also wanted Bam Adebayo. Remember that clip from Colin Cowherd when Joy Taylor was the co-host? You remember that clip from Colin, right? Where they're talking about a potential Jimmy Butler to Miami trade from Minnesota, and they want Bam Adebayo as well with Josh Richardson. And Colin Cowherd goes, "What's a Bam? What's a Bam?" Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So you had that going on there, where not only were the Heat trying to make Josh Richardson a number one option, but it was also, man, he's not good enough to be your number one, and we could have Jimmy Butler instead. But no, they also wanted Bam, so they sent him to Philadelphia, and then the next year, we get Jimmy. Just because Josh Richardson wasn't a good enough number one does not mean Josh Richardson at 28 years old is not going to be a really good signing for this team. And I love bringing back old players, and this guy's not old. He's still in his prime. I'll tell you right now, a backcourt of Damian Lillard, let's assume they get him. They're going to get him. A backcourt of Damian Lillard and Josh Richardson could do a lot worse. Richardson's got size. He's 6'5", 6'6". He could defend. He can hit shots. He could hit mid-range shots as well. You know I love that. Use the whole floor. A backcourt of Lillard and Richardson, you're not going to have to sell me. Lillard, Richardson, Butler, I would assume Caleb Martin, maybe Kevin Love, but I would assume Caleb Martin and Bam Adebayo. I do not hate a starting backcourt of Lillard and Richardson. And I already told you, I'm not going to say he's an upgrade, although that is kind of what I'm saying. I think Richardson's better than Gabe Vincent. Israel Gutierrez disagreed with me yesterday. I think Richardson's better. And here's the fun part. Can you imagine this? Imagine this. Bringing back Josh Richardson, bringing him back, winning a title, because let's assume you get the Damian Lillard trade. Bring Josh Richardson back, winning a title after having to use him to get Jimmy Butler in the first place. You trade him away for Butler because you're trying to win a championship, and you eventually bring him back, and he still gets to be a part of that championship. That'd be special. I love that. He gets used for a championship, get used to acquire a player to win a championship, Jimmy Butler, but they can't complete the deal until he comes back and helps. I really think the Heat fan needs to appreciate what I think is a tremendous value signing in Josh Richardson. I'm very in on the Richardson signing. Very happy with it. So he was introduced yesterday. Thomas Bryant was introduced yesterday. But the big news now, we got to move this story forward a little bit, is Damian Lillard. So Lillard's agent, how about this? This came out from Woj, and it's Wojnarowski. I told you. It's a shady game, the reporters. It is. In order to get to where guys like Wojnarowski, guys like Shams Charania, we know Charania is a mouthpiece for Rich Paul, FanDuel. Wojnarowski is clearly holding water for the Portland Trail Blazers. Hates Miami, has no sources with the Heat. So you get Wojnarowski this morning, who says, quote, Goodwin, Aaron Goodwin, that's Damian Lillard's agent, Goodwin telling organizations outside of Miami that trading for Lillard is trading for an unhappy player. So Lillard's agent is warning teams against trading for him. This is the part where things could get ugly. Because by Portland not acquiescing to the trade request for an iconic player, for a legendary Blazer, the agent is now scaring teams away. And you know he's scaring teams away because where are the other offers? We'll get to that in a second. The agent is scaring other teams away. The Heat can just lower their offer if they believe all the other teams are scared off. It's like with Bradley Beal. So Bradley Beal had a no-trade clause. The way for the Heat, forget about the Lillard stuff. The way for the Heat to get Bradley Beal and to get him without giving up Tyler Hero is Beal has to tell the Wizards, I will only accept a trade to Miami. And if he only accepts a trade to Miami, the Heat can lowball the shit out of them. But that wasn't the case. It was Miami or Phoenix. So the Wizards have the opportunity to take the best offer. If other teams are being scared off, if the agent for Damian Lillard is saying you will be acquiring a player who is not happy and who could potentially then ask for another trade, it's a disaster. Are you willing to give up all these assets for Damian Lillard and then and acquire a player who you don't know if he's going to play for you? Can't do it. Can't do it. And we can have a different conversation about player empowerment and all that stuff. And you know I hate player empowerment. And I'll be the first one to tell you, I will raise my hand here. I'm a big hypocrite. Because in this case, the player empowerment is helping my team. I'll be the first one to tell you. Yeah, I like it right now because it's helping the Heat. But that's a whole different conversation. So, the agent now is scaring away other teams, right? The Heat can just lower their offer if they believe they're the only ones. Now, I don't like the Heat could just say to the Blazers, you know what? We're pulling this back. We're pulling this back. That deal was on the table last week, but this is the new deal because they know no one else is offering anything because they don't want to trade for a player who is going to be disgruntled. Now, I don't believe the Heat would do that because the Heat are not about bad business. That would be bad business. That's negotiating in bad faith. I don't believe the Heat would do that. I do believe, and we had this conversation a little bit yesterday with Israel Gutierrez, I do believe there is a part where the Heat are going to tell, maybe they're already telling the Blazers and Joe Cronin, their general manager, how do we make this so that you come out looking good? We want you to save face. We're going to get the start. We're looking good no matter what. How do we make this so you save face as well? That's what I think the Heat are going to do. But they can go the opposite route if it gets ugly. The agent's starting to make it ugly, and the Heat can go about with bad faith negotiating. We know there's no one else out there. We're changing our offer. Now, I don't believe they would do that, but they could. Now, let's use some common sense here as far as other offers, right? Other teams. If there were other offers out there, don't you think we'd know about it? Don't you think that we would know? Because the Blazers want to get the best package possible for Damian Lillard. How do you do that? Well, you leak out one of the offers. So you get the other team or teams to up their offer. Now, the Heat are the only ones who made an offer right now. They don't have to leak the Heat's offer because other teams are seemingly being scared off. We know that he only wants to go to Miami. If there were other offers out there, the Blazers would leak it. So Miami now sees what the other offer is and now has to pump their deal up. But they don't have to do that because there are no other offers. These other teams know we don't want to acquire a player who's going to make a mess and doesn't want to be here. There are no other offers outside of Miami. Otherwise, the Blazers would leak it to get more from the Heat. The Blazers have no other offers, and you have a GM who is flopping and flailing right now like a dying fish. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. So, I don't know how much longer this is going to take, but it's going to be Miami. And like I said, the Heat can do bad business if they want. I don't believe they're going to do that. But now you're at the place where it may start to get a little bit ugly. And you got a general manager in Portland who, I don't know if he really knows what he's doing. Well, Might fuck around and find out. We'll see. Because the Heat can make things really difficult. But I don't think they're going to do that. Because I think the Heat are about negotiating in good faith. And I think the Heat are about, there's a karma that comes along with good business. And I think that's the Heat's MO. I'll tell you what your MO should be. If you see that there's a leak somewhere in your home, maybe you don't even know where it's coming from. You got to take care of that immediately. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. My boys, the Greensteins, Water Cleanup of Florida, they have over 60 years of combined experience. Their team is prepared to handle all types of leak detection issues. And after the leak has been located and repaired, Water Cleanup of Florida, they clean, dry, and fully restore the damaged areas. Water Cleanup of Florida, fully licensed, insured, and certified to provide the one-stop shopping that all busy homeowners and business owners require. No need to bring in other contractors. Water Cleanup of Florida is handling the entire project from start to finish. 954-900-8635. They serve the entire Tri-County area. Check out more than 80 5-star reviews on Google. Water Cleanup of Florida, 954-900-8635. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. So I want to do some NBA here before we get to Minervini and get back to the Marlins. You had a significant trade. Took place yesterday. Significant trade. So Grant Williams has been traded from Boston to Dallas in a 3-team trade. Boston got back a pair of second-round picks. I don't know what the third... Oh, Reggie Bullock was involved. I don't even know where they sent him. Dallas sent him somewhere else. So Grant Williams goes to Dallas. I would tell you, that's a good signing for Dallas. But Dallas had a terrible offseason. You can't have a good season when you give Kyrie Irving $126 million. So it's irrelevant what Dallas does here. That team will implode. I mean, they went from 4th place to 11th place after acquiring Kyrie Irving. That team has no chance, especially... And by the way, that was Kyrie Irving on best behavior because he wanted a new contract. Now, you guaranteed Kyrie Irving $126 million. He could do whatever the hell he wants. Him requesting a trade out of Brooklyn was best behavior. Him posting an anti-Semitic video was best behavior. Now you gave him $126 million. Dallas has no chance. But the part that the Heat fans should be focused on is no more Grant Williams in Boston. No more Marcus Smart in Boston. Yes, they added Porzingis. This is not the same Celtic team. When the Heat play the Celtics, the things that you're afraid of are the toughness, the dog mentality, the physical play. You're not afraid of Tatum. You're not afraid of Brown. You can't even dribble. You're afraid of the style of play. The toughness that you exude as well. They don't have it anymore. The Celtics have lost that. No more Marcus Smart, no more Grant Williams. Those two embodied what these last, 4 years of Celtics teams were about. Now, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be good, but they're not the same. And this is not a Celtic team I'm afraid of. Like, losing Smart and Williams, and we're assuming that they're going to keep Jaylen Brown. We're assuming. And just adding Porzingis, they're not as good as they were last year. They're not better than they were last year. And you're not afraid of that team. So that's a big thing for the Heat. Now, I did see the NBA announced their in-season tournament is going to start this year. You can count me as someone who does not care. I would like to care because you see what's going on with soccer, where you have these other in-season tournaments that take place, and it's cool, right? Like, it's the NBA trying to emulate what goes on with soccer. I can't find a reason to care about this. So apparently the way it's going to work is each team, group play, is going to be in your division. You're going to play each team in your division. So the Heat will play the Wizards, the Hawks, the Magic, and who am I missing? Wizards, Hawks, Magic, Hornets. And the winner of each group play, is going to come out of that with one wild card. So 4 teams in each conference. And then they're going to play in a conference quarterfinal. They're going to play in a conference semifinal. And then the 2 teams from each conference, I assume, are going to meet in the finals. The Final 4 is going to be played in Vegas in season. So those games in group play are going to count as part of your regular season because you play those teams anyway. Apparently, the championship game for this tournament, those stats and that game does not count for the standings. But if you win it, you get a trophy, you raise the trophy, and everyone laughs because it doesn't mean anything. I've been thinking about it. I can't get into it. I don't care about this. Why do I care about this little tournament in the middle of the season? I don't know. Does anyone else care? It doesn't resonate with me. I don't see why I'm supposed to care about this. And I can picture it now. You know, Team A beats Team B in this in-season tournament, and they have a ceremony, and they're raising that trophy, and it's like, all right. Like, will the season end? The Heat come up short in the NBA Finals, but we won that trophy in season. Is anyone going to care? Nah, it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't do anything for me. I don't know. Maybe we'll get to that place and we're really into that game in Vegas because the Heat can win a championship. I don't know. It doesn't do anything for me. And can you imagine what happens if a player gets hurt in that game? The game that does not count in your regular season standings? Who cares? Like, are teams going to put up a banner if they win that tournament? I don't know. To me, this is something they're trying. And this is something that's not going to last. I don't think this has legs to it. I don't think there's anything there. So, a little bit of NBA news there for you. You got Damian Lillard's agent who is telling other teams, making calls, starting to make things difficult for the Blazers. Are the Heat going to pounce on that opportunity to make things difficult for the Blazers? I don't believe so. But Damian Lillard's agent is now beginning to make things difficult for the Blazers. We'll see where it goes. We'll see how the Blazers respond. But it's going to be Miami. Like my buddy Adam, water cleanup of Florida. He was texting me last night. Well, can the Heat do this? Can they do this? And I'm like, dude, they're going to get Lillard. It's going to happen. It's just, we got to be a little bit patient. We got to wait this thing out. That's what we're talking about.